How's it going, gang? Hey. I'm here to talk about how to caucus in Washington. Specifically, yes, very important, specifically with the Democratic Party in these three aspects. Number one, what is the caucus? Number two, how do I caucus? And some mind-blowing facts. So, you guys may have heard we have a presidential election coming up in November. It's going to be Donald Trump versus somebody. And going on right now is when we choose that somebody. That's our nomination process. We choose our nominee. One common way of doing that is a primary vote, which I think most people are familiar with. The other way is a caucus, which is what I am here to talk about with you all this evening. But before we get too into the distinctions, I want to do a quick poll. Who here has caucused in Washington before? Show of hands. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Who here has participated in the Washington Democratic primary? Raise your hands. Okay. That's actually a trick question. I'm sorry for that. We'll get into why that is in a second. The primary, as you guys know, you fill out a ballot. It goes into a big statewide pool, and whichever candidate gets the majority of votes wins the state, and you get a certain amount of points for that. All good things. Now, here comes the kicker. Everybody raise their hands for participating in Washington's Democratic Party primary. I have bad news for you. That is not how the Democratic Party chooses their nominee. There is a primary, and you can participate in it, but it is meaningless. I don't mean that in some cynical way. It counts for nothing. It decides nothing. In fact, it happens 2 months after the actual decision-making, which is at the caucus. Mind-blowing fact number one. Where does the caucus even start? It doesn't start at a state level. It starts at a local level, at your voter precinct, which is a tiny little geographical division, sometimes just a few city blocks. If you inhabited here at Town Hall, that would be your voter precinct right there. And then all the voters in that precinct get together at an appointed time and place. We will show this slide later, so get your cameras out. Get your phones ready. But March 26th, 10 a.m., very, very, very important. And you can find your location for where this happens at wa-democrats.org. So, voters in your precinct will all gather together in a big open room, maybe a high school gym or a cafeteria or something like that. And if each block represents a voter, maybe they have some candidates, the room starts out looking something like this. So how this goes, each precinct has a set number of delegates allotted to it. These delegates are like points, they're up for grabs. And you'll be asked to form groups around each of your preferred candidates. Physical groups of voters, little bunches. And how this goes, based on the relative size of each group, we dole out those delegates. So candidate 2 here had the biggest group. They get the most delegates. Sweet. But it's not winner take all. Candidate 1 got some delegates too, which is important. The other interesting component to all of this, there will be undecided voters there, and other voters that you can sway if you can make a strong case. You can bring them over to your side. It gets a little movement-y, which is awesome. This changes all the numbers. We'll keep moving. Caucuses, mind-blowing fact number 2. Caucuses are not well understood, which kills voter turnout. Rough numbers are the best we have here, but we get about 8% in caucus states versus 31% in primary states, which means your vote actually matters more in caucus states. Very, very important to vote. Worth noting also that after the precinct caucus, which we just talked about, the first tier of it, the process continues over bigger and bigger geographical areas, but that's later on this spring. We'll deal with that later. So mind-blowing fact number 3, caucuses change history. Because people do not understand them well and voter turnout is low, it favors these scrappy insurgent candidates. And absent any better alternatives, this weird little process continues to change history. Barack Obama stunned everybody, winning Iowa in 2008, set him on the path to victory. Same thing happened with Jimmy Carter in 1972. Bernie, he was an impossibility 6 months ago, and it's looking very, very real. It's getting very exciting. So, all right, everyone, get your phones out right now. Take a picture of this. I want to see everybody at their precinct caucus, March 26th, 10 o'clock in the morning. You can find your caucus location online. It's at wa-democrats.org. They've got this great check-in thing. You can tell them that you'll be there. You can print up your forms. If you're not registered in advance, you can show up that day and you can caucus, which is awesome. And if you're not even 18 yet and you're going to be 18 by the general election in November, you can caucus too. All right, I am very proud and psyched to be caucusing for my boy Bernie Sanders, which I am super stoked about. But if you have a compelling argument for why I should hear about your candidate, I would love to hear it. Check out my website, burnadvisory.org, johnculver.com. Thank you guys very much.